ज्ञानतिमिरतं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कथा मह्यं ददति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलान् श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेव कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नाम्ने नमस्ते सारस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतान्ने वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Reading from Śrīla Prabhupāda-līlāmṛta, Volume 2, Chapter 46, Preaching to America, Part 1. Although Śrīla Prabhupada had said he would stay in Los Angeles, he soon decided to follow his original travel plan. Feeling compelled to see to the welfare of his disciples around the country, he left on a tour of 13 ISKCON centers in the US and Canada. About half a dozen of his sannyas disciples traveled with him. Denver, June 27, 1975. Srila Prabhupada was pleasantly surprised to see the brick church building that was now a Krishna temple. The temple hall was spacious and afternoon sunshine streamed into the room. He beheld the small golden form of Radha and Krishna on the altar and then walked to the rear of the hall where he sat on the Vyasasana. Although the devotees allowing the devotees to bath his feet. These disciples, unaccustomed to being with their spiritual master, were awakened awkward. Were awkward in performing the standard formalities, but they were enthusiastic and happy. Sitting on the floor before Srila Prabhupada, Dashrath began singing Oye Vaishnava Thakur, accompanying himself on the harmonium. Srila Prabhupada liked his singing and when the song was finished, asked, "You know the meaning?" Dashrath replied, "O Venerable Vaishnava, O Ocean of Mercy, please be merciful upon your servant." Another devotee added, "I pray for the shade of your lotus feet." Yes, Prabhupada acknowledged, and he began to speak about the song's author, Narottam Das Thakur. He then quoted another song by Narottam Das, Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nisthara Payeche Keba. This Krishna consciousness movement is for Nisthara, he said. Nisthara means to be liberated from the capture of Maya. When we hear songs by the Vaishnavas, that is called liberation. Although the devotees had heard before of Narottam Das Thakur and of liberation, they listened especially attentively now. Here was the Vaishnava Thakur in person, come to teach them to control their passions, to impart to them the strength or to carry out the Sankirtan movement, and to bless them, as Narottam Das Thakur described, with one drop of faith with which to attain the great treasure of the holy name. So I am very glad to see this temple, Srila Prabhupada said to the group of about 40 devotees. You have purchased it? That's nice. Very good space. And the devotees here are very nice. So our process is very simple, that we dedicate our life to the service of the Vaishnava and according to his direction we engage in Shravanam, Kirtanam, hearing and chanting of Vishnu and refrain from the sinful activities. Then life is successful. We do not require to be very learned or very rich man or to take birth in very high family. For driving Srila Prabhupada to the park, a friend of Denver Temple had lent his Lincoln Continental, formerly Richard Nixon's presidential limousine. Brahmananda Swami pointed out the car's luxurious features to Prabhupada, including bulletproof glass windows. So, bullet is expected also? Prabhupada laughed. Brahmananda remarked that the world leaders were always in anxiety. Prabhupada agreed. In the material world, there was danger at every step. He began talking of Indian politics. Indira Gandhi and Jayaprakash Narayan in bitter disagreement. Both of them are in distressed position, Prabhupada said. I am thinking of writing them on the basis of our Bhagavad Gita. Do you think it is advised? When Srila Prabhupada mentioned that Indira Gandhi occasionally went to see her Guru, Anandamayi, Brahmananda remarked that her Guru had commented favorably about the chanting of Hare Krishna. So what do you think? Prabhupada asked his sannyas, Tamal Krishna Bhavananda and Satsvarupa. Shall I write? Hmm. I have made a draft of a letter this night. So you come and see. Let us take a chance. We want good for everyone, and this is the only medicine. Hare Krishna. For all wrongs. Paradukha Dukhi. People are suffering. The devotees agreed the letter would be a good idea, although they doubted whether the politicians would take the advice or even read such letters. Prabhupada then asked about the public's response to Krishna consciousness in Denver. They get nice attendance on Sundays, Satsvarupa answered. Many people come. There is a good hope, Prabhupada affirmed. Good book distribution here too. Prabhupada nodded. That is the most successful. Wherever book distribution is going on nicely, that is successful. Because people are in gross ignorance. They are taking this temporary life as everything. Very horrible condition. We are trying to explain what is the actual life. They arrived at the park, which was filled with tall old pines, maples, and oaks. Getting out of the car, Prabhupada stood facing a pond. In the distance, he could see the Denver skyline and Rocky Mountains. He could hear the quacking of ducks and geese from the pond. A second carload of devotees arrived, and Prabhupada and his followers began walking along a paved path beside the lake. Very nice path, Prabhupada remarked, and not far away. They soon came upon a large modern building, the Museum of Natural History. That means Darwin's theory, that's all, said Prabhupada. Their whole civilization is based on this Darwin theory. How long you shall keep history? Do you know what is the history of the sun? When it was created? When it came into appearance? Can Darwin give us the history of the sun or the moon or the sky? Where is the history? There is history, but where is your history? You simply imagine there was a chunk and it became manifested as a sun, moon, and I am also this. And do you actually know? How has this cosmic manifestation come into existence? The sun rose with dazzling golden rays and quickly warmed the air. The devotees offered Prabhupada information about Denver, the mile high city. It was good for health, they said. Prabhupada said the climate was as in Punjab, the upcountry in India. He also heard how Colorado was known as cow country because its main industry was slaughter. Prabhupada walked past a zoo and down a hill. He passed a Civil War cannon and saw many colorful flower beds, expansive lawns, and everywhere the tall pines. Although the air seemed chilly for July, the brightness of rising sun was unusual and the natural scenery of the park stood out sharply. Srila Prabhupada also appeared bathed in golden light as he walked briskly, wrapped in his grey chadar, talking from time to time with his disciples. Prabhupada mentioned Gopal Agarwal, the man at whose home he had first stayed after arriving in America in 1965. Gopal's father, he said, was a very rich man in Mathura, and Gopal had come to America to be an electrical engineer. He was not doing as well as he would have by staying in India, Prabhupada said. Gopal's wife Sally used to say, my husband is a lost child of his parents. People are working so hard day and night from these temporary years, Prabhupada said, although by laboring less than that, they can go back to Godhead. Just to get a nice car, a nice wife, a few children by working so hard. And by the same labor, if he devotes himself to Krishna consciousness, then he goes back home, back to Godhead. And what is wrong there? We have got so many Krishna conscious devotees. What is wrong there? Compared to these ordinary karmis? Are you unhappy? What do you think? All these efforts will be finished, and after death, they will become a cat or a dog or a tree devotee. Sometimes, Prabhupada, even if we explain this and people seem to understand, still they won't do anything about it. Prabhupada. So you have to constantly poke them. Just like when a man is sleeping, you have to call him constantly. Mr. John, wake up, you rascal, why are you sleeping? You have got this opportunity of form of life. Now get up, take to Krishna consciousness and solve all your problems. Devotee. Some people say that if we want to do this, it's all right, but we shouldn't preach and insist to them. Everyone has his own way. Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. But you are a human being. You rascal, you are sleeping, and we are just trying to awaken you. Suppose a child was going off to one side where there is a danger. We are human beings, so we shall say, no, no, go to the right. We shall try to save him. That is our business, to do good to others. That is our mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now that this man is going to hell, so let him go to hell. But at least I am happy that he is not human. Devotee. A lot of times, Srila Prabhupada, they feel we are just escaping material life. They say we don't have jobs and that we should work for a living. Prabhupada addressing an imaginary challenger. You rascal, you have no money, you work. But we are rich men, we are Krishna's sons. So why shall I work like you? An ass? An ass will work unnecessarily, we are not asses. Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada said, establishes Lord Krishna as the proprietor of everything. The servant of Krishna, therefore, should be expected to work hard like asses. Uh, should not be expected to work like asses. Asses work hard, not human beings. This was also the instruction of Rishabhadev in Srimad Bhagavatam. Rishabdev told his sons that human life is not meant for working hard simply for food and sex enjoyment. That was the business of hogs. Prabhupada, tell them they are working like hogs and we are living like human beings. That is the difference. If somebody does not work hard like a hog, does that mean he is escaping? Srila Prabhupada continued to vigorously develop his theme. He argued very seriously and yet in a delightful way, showing the fortune of one who becomes a servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The devotees could not refrain from smiling and laughing as they hurried to keep up with his pace and with his Krishna conscious logic. Prabhupada, I was a student of economics. There was learned Marshall's theory. So there we learned Marshall's theory. He says that human nature is such that unless a person has obligation, he will not work. That is the beginning of economics. If one already has something sufficient to eat, then he will not work. So if we have sufficient to eat, why shall we work? What is the answer? This is not escaping, it is coming to the light. To not work and yet get our necessities is comfort. But to work hard just to get the bare necessities of life, that is for the hogs and dogs. Devotee. They have no faith or trust that this can be done. Prabhupada. See us, you rascal, see. Open your eyes. See that we have no business. We have no food stock. Still we are not worried. We do not know what we shall eat in the evening, but still we are not worried. I came to your country without any subsistence. Prabhupada argued that man's economic necessities could be easily settled by keeping cows and land. He said that men have made an unnecessary complex arrangement just for maintaining the body, thereby forgetting the purpose of human life. When a devotee contended that not everyone had the opportunity to get land, Prabhupada said that this was simply mismanagement. There was plenty of land in America. Devotee Srila Prabhupada, they accuse us of being parasites. Srila Prabhupada, no. A parasite means if he takes others' property and tries to enjoy it. But we are not enjoying others' property, we are enjoying our father's property. Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. Krishna is the proprietor. Why do you say parasite? We are good children of Krishna, and Krishna says, don't work, I shall give you everything. Actually, Krishna says that, why are you working so hard? Just surrender to me, I will give you protection, whatever you want. So, we are giving everything. Why say parasite? The devotees were well aware that Srila Prabhupada did work, traveling constantly, managing his worldwide Krishna conscious society, rising in the middle of night to translate Srimad Bhagavatam. And his disciples also worked hard, but they did not work like animals and animal like persons for things that would be destroyed in time. And they did not work at horrible enterprises that ruined the best part of human nature. They did not work like asses and claim They had no time left in the day to chant the holy name of God. Prabhupada, now this is a nice park, but nobody is coming here. We Krishna conscious people, we are taking advantage. So they are escaping, or we are escaping. Just see how foolish they are. They work so hard, but they are not taking advantage. But we are taking, and we are taking. So our policy is that you work hard and we go and take from you. This is not escaping, this is intelligence. Srila Prabhupada's example was a delightful revelation to the devotees and they laughed at obvious truth. Here they were walking so pleasantly with their spiritual master, and yet no one else was coming to enjoy the park. Prabhupada. But as soon as we ask, you also come and join, they will not. They say, no, we shall work like this. We are asking everyone, come here, but they will not come. That is their enviousness. Therefore, they say we are escaping and living at the cost of others. They see that we have got so many cars and the devotees' faces are bright. We are eating nicely and have no problems. But if we ask them to come, then it is very difficult. If we ask them to chant Hare Krishna and dance, oh, it is a very big, heavy task for them. As soon as they will come, they will know that there is no tea, no liquor, no meat, no cigarette. So you can say that we are escaping these things, but we are not escaping happiness. They are escaping happiness. When Srila Prabhupada did not have a specific engagement in Denver, a few of his men sometimes gathered in his room. Occasionally, he would provoke some of them into a mock debate with him. Srila Prabhupada, everything must come from something. No one can deny that. Now, we give our challenge. Do you know what that absolute truth is? Brahmananda. We know there is an absolute truth, but at this time we cannot directly say what it is. Prabhupada immediately replied that if a person admits not knowing the absolute truth, then that person has no grounds for rejecting the Vedic explanation of the absolute. That person cannot deny Krishna is the absolute truth. If you don't know the philosophy, Prabhupada said, then you must agree to hear from an authority who does. That's Swarupa. Yes, that argument is logical and we should at least listen to you. But we have heard so many versions of the truth. Why should we accept your version? Prabhupada. That is like saying, I have come across so many counterfeit coins. Why should I think there are real coins? There are counterfeit coins and there must also be a genuine coins. Must be genuine coins. It is our misfortune if we are unable to distinguish the real coins from the counterfeit coins. Another sannyasi challenged that the Krishna consciousness version was dogmatic, since there were many truths and many gods, but the absolute truth is one. Srila Prabhupada replied, because God is one, God has no competitor. If a person does not accept Krishna as God, then he has to present someone who is more fully God than Krishna. But if someone does not know who is God, then that person cannot deny Krishna. If you speak that way, Prabhupada continued, then you are being dogmatic. You do not know what God is, yet dogmatically you are saying that Krishna is not God. Prabhupada compared those who deny the supremacy of Krishna to owls who do not open their eyes to see the sunlight. Such persons demand to see God, but when God comes before them personally or when he sends his pure representative, they will not see. On another morning walk in Denver, Tamal Krishna Goswami told Prabhupada that some of the devotees were reading books about health diets and were avoiding the prasadam offered to the deities in the temple. Srila Prabhupada immediately replied that this was not good. Fasting, he acknowledged, was good for health, but devotees should not become weak. They should take prasadam and do their work. When one of the devotees told Prabhupada he got drowsy after eating heavily of grains and therefore preferred fruits, Prabhupada said that was all right. Fruit was offered to the deity. When Yadubara said that in Los Angeles the families often cooked in their own homes instead of taking prasadam of the deity, Bhavananda Goswami testified how wonderful it was at Mayapur festival when hundreds of devotees sat down and took prasadam together. Prabhupada, yes, what is the difficulty? Chapatis, rice, they are innocent foods. What is the difficulty? Harikesh, a lot of devotees are quoting you. They say there is no need to eat grains and that you said that grains were for animals. Prabhupada, but I am eating grains. Harikesh, I tell them that. Prabhupada, they say, Prabhupada says, then you believe that. Prabhupada said that devotees should not listen to health advice if it resulted in their refusing to honor the Lord's prasadam. Prabhupada, therefore, follow taking prasadam. Let whatever may happen. Tamal Krishna, let us die eating prasadam. Prabhupada, yes, laugh. That is a devotee. But we must prepare very first class foodstuffs. And then, where is the complaint if it is first class? Returning from the walk, Srila Prabhupada continued to discuss the topic in Srimad Bhagavatam class. I am hearing that we are not taking prasadam, especially the grihasthas. No, that is not good. You should take prasadam. Prabhupada described how Bhakti Yoga begins with controlling the tongue by chanting and by eating Krishna prasadam. So, in our branches, he continued, all the devotees take prasadam together. That is nice. Why we should not be liking to take prasadam in temple? What is the fault? No, this is not good. Everyone should take prasadam. It is called prasada seva, not prasadam enjoyment. Prasadam means giving service. Prasadam is as good as Krishna and should be respected as good as Krishna. So one must have faith that it is not material. Those who are attached to Krishna consciousness movement and are attached to the service, they should take prasadam, first class prasadam. Everyone who likes the taste of prasadam. July 2nd, 1975. On the plane from Denver to Chicago, Prabhupada scanned a Time magazine essay on crime, a cover story entitled Crime, Why and What to Do. Landing at O'Hare Airport, he was greeted by hundreds of cheering devotees and press. Your Divine Grace, Sri Govinda, the Chicago Temple President, said, pushing forward, this is Miss Jones from NBC Television. How do you do? Smiled Mrs. Jones, and several other reporters held microphones before Prabhupada. I would like to know what the occasion is. Why are you visiting Chicago? Just now I had seen one article in Time magazine, Srila Prabhupada replied. He raised his right hand in an instructing gesture and leaned against the cane he held in his left hand. It was 4 or 5 pages, he continued. Crime, why and how to solve it. If you are serious, then you can take our method and suggestions. Then you can stop this crime. You have a way to stop the crime? Oh, yes, I have. Can you explain a little bit more how you do it? Srila Prabhupada nodded. That we have to suggest. The social, political, educational, cultural, everything has to be changed. So if you come, we can give you in details how it can be done. Miss Jones dropped the issue and asked Prabhupada how he felt about his welcome. She seemed unnerved by the devotees crowding around to see and hear Srila Prabhupada. By God's grace, Srila Prabhupada said, wherever I go, they welcome me like that. Miss Jones, are you used to anything a bit more serene? Serene? Prabhupada thoughtfully considered the word as they all stood together in the midst of the noisy, heavily trafficked airport. Of course, our whole propaganda is serene, he said. Yes, we are distributing God consciousness. It is the most serene moment. People have to learn it very nicely. Thank you, said Miss Jones. She had gotten enough. But Prabhupada added a last word. My message is to stop the crimes of your country. This is my sum and substance. You have read the article in Time magazine, Crime and How to Stop It. So if you take my advice, then you can stop. Then that can be stopped. The world is simply full of criminals, Prabhupada continued, seated in the back seat of the car as they pulled away from the airport's entrance. Crime means papi, sinful. To Srila Prabhupada, it seemed to make no difference that he was sitting in a car with a few disciples and not speaking in the press with the press. If simply by law you want to suppress them, it will not be successful. Deliver them, then you also come along with them. Not that these criminals only should be delivered and you will go on continuing with criminal activities, slaughterhouses, and killing the children in the womb. You are a criminal yourself, the whole state. Srila Prabhupada sat waiting for his massage to begin. His regular daily schedule was to take massage at 11:30 a.m. before bathing and taking prasadam. But today, because of his plane travel, his routine was interrupted. Nevertheless, he wanted to follow his general program as far as possible. Upendra was getting mustard oil and the mat for Srila Prabhupada to sit on. So we can solve this, Prabhupada said to the few disciples with him. Why not invite them to hear us? How we can solve? We can arrange big meetings on this point. Crime, why and what to do. A very suitable headline it is. Prabhupada continued to develop a Krishna conscious analysis of crime. As long as society violates the laws of nature, he said there must be crime. He thought it significant that, according to Time article, the leaders of the country were actually wondering what to do about the increasing crime rate and that they were admitting they didn't know the solution. Now, he said, our business is to give the solution to these leaders if they actually want the welfare of the country. All the problems could be solved by Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada had often said, and now he was eager to tackle the particular problem of crime. America's leaders were admitting their bewilderment, and if they were actually sincere, then they might accept the Krishna conscious solution. Prabhupada was keen to preach to the government leaders. Krishna consciousness was meant especially for them. Bhagavad Gita states that the Rajarshis or saintly kings should disseminate the teachings of Gita to the citizens. But were the leaders actually serious? Srila Prabhupada wondered. He was serious, and he anticipated the special opportunity that might arise here in Chicago to preach to the leaders about ending crime. While sitting with a group of disciples in his room, Srila Prabhupada asked for a particular Bhagavatam verse to be read, and he gave the opening Sanskrit. Kamasya Nendriya Kamasya Nendriya Priti. Um, Harikesh read, a completely bewildered material civilization is wrongly directed toward the fulfillment of desires in sense gratification. In such civilizations, in all spheres of life, the ultimate end is sense gratification. In politics, social service, altruis- altruism, philanthropy, and ultimately in religion or even in salvation, the very same tint of sense gratification is ever increasingly predominant. In the political field, leaders of men fight with one another to fulfill their personal sense gratification. Srila Prabhupada interrupted. Now in India, this is happening. All these things are foreseen. I have already discussed all this in the purport. Then Harikesh continued reading. The voters adore the so called leaders only when they promise sense gratification. As soon as the voters are dissatisfied in their own sense gratification, they dethrone the leaders. The leaders must always dissatisfy the voters by not satisfying their senses. Again, Prabhupada interrupted. There are protest meetings and processions, but nobody will be able to satisfy them because they do not know how to keep the mass of people satisfied. These rascals they do not know. I have always said they are rascals. Now they ask what to do. They will face so many problems. What to do? This is the beginning. The whole world will be in chaos if they do not take to Krishna consciousness. So many what to do will come. Just tell them that here is the remedy. Now it is the time for preaching. They are thinking. They are sleeping. But now they are thinking what to do. They are blindly following sense gratification, and now it has come to the stage of what to do. This is the opportunity for preaching. We are the only persons who can give solution. There is no other group or any man in the world. We are only. So let them take advantage of our knowledge and apply. Now all the sannyasis have got the good opportunity to preach. The ISKCON temple was in Chicago suburb of Evanston, and on July 4th, the day after Prabhupada's arrival, Edgar Veneman Jr., the mayor of Evanston, came to visit Prabhupada in his apartment. Immediately, Prabhupada referred to the Time news article on crime. The remedy, he said, is to train first class men. He told the mayor briefly of Vedic society's four natural divisions, pointing out that society had become so degraded that everyone is in the fourth class, the lowest class, and sinking. The only hope was to train some first class and second class men. We certainly need a new approach, admitted Mayor Veneman, because we are not being successful now. After less than half an hour's conversation, Srila Prabhupada was ready to make a bold request. Previously, Jagadish, the GBC secretary for Chicago, had mentioned that a very large municipally owned building across the street was vacant. Srila Prabhupada decided to ask the mayor to donate it. Already he had explained to Mayer that Krishna consciousness could stop crime and drug addiction, and he now asked Harikesh to read a letter by Dr. Stilson Judah, author of Hare Krishna and the Counterculture. In the letter, Dr. Judah appreciated Krishna consciousness for transforming lives from drug addicted hippies to loving servants of Krishna and humanity. So we can stop this, provided we are given the facility to work on, said Srila Prabhupada. When the mayor replied yes, Srila Prabhupada made his request. So I was thinking, Prabhupada said, just in front of here there is a very nice house, Marywood, a big house. You have knowledge about this house? The mayor replied that this building was to be the new city hall of Evanston. Srila Prabhupada had not been told about this and he hesitated, while the mayor spoke of how the city's office, scattered for so long in 9 different locations, could now all be together in this one building. But this is more important, Prabhupada said. City service is going on, but criminals are increasing. So why not give an give us a little opportunity? Mayor Vanmon explained politely that he would have to talk with the city manager, tactfully excusing himself from commitment. If we get a good place, Prabhupada continued, with the cooperation of the authorities, then our simple program is, as Professor Yoda has remarked, to turn drug addict hippies into devotees. We shall invite everyone to come and chant Hare Krishna mantra and take prasadam. I began this movement in New York alone, and these boys gradually came to me, but my process was this chanting and giving them prasadam. Everyone will be glad to accept it. They will read these books. These devotees here are practical examples. I am a poor Indian. I did not bribe them. Neither have I any money. Prabhupada laughed. So now they have dedicated their lives for this purpose. So I want to do this on a large scale. But there were practical alternatives. Perhaps Prabhupada suggested. The Krishna consciousness movement could also could could use part of the building for a year. He continued describing the efficacy of Krishna consciousness, but the mayor had little else to say. Prabhupada had prasadam brought in and asked his guest if he had any further inquiry. No, I really don't think I do. Mayor Vaneman replied, but I think I'd like to learn more about your movement, and I have enjoyed talking and listening to you, and I appreciate it. After the mayor left, one of Prabhupada's disciples questioned why they would want such a big building. The Chicago temple was large and not at all crowded. My idea is, Prabhupada said, I want to draw the attention of the authorities. If they cooperate, then we can push on our movement more vigorously. But with our present location here, we cannot, a devotee asked. We are doing it on a small scale, Prabhupada explained. It is going on, but if we get support from the authorities, we can push on in a larger scale. Lieutenant David Mosey, public relations representative of Chicago Police Department, was interested in Srila Prabhupada's idea for stopping crime, and Srila Prabhupada offered his simple proposal. The government should give ISKCON a large building where the devotees could regularly hold mass kirtans and distribute prasadam, and gradually people will become purified. Lieutenant Mosey, like Mayor Vaneman, was respectful and interested. Unless you clean the heart, Srila Prabhupada said, you cannot stop criminality simply by laws. The laws are already known by the thieves and murderers, but still they commit because the heart is unclean. And our process is to cleanse the heart. A very difficult task, sir, said Lieutenant Mosey. Prabhupada replied that it wasn't difficult. He was already doing it on a small scale. They are faced with problem, why crime and what to do, he said, and we are giving the answer. So you take advantage of it. Why crime? We are saying because they are godless. And what to do? Chant Hare Krishna and take prasadam. Now if you like, you can take. Otherwise, we are doing our own business like just a poor medical man. He is also giving medicine. But if he is given facility, he can open a big hospital. That is our proposition. We are already doing that business, but if we get facility from the authorities, then we can open a big place, a big hospital. And the problem is already big. Otherwise, why are they saying what to do? Illinois State Assemblyman John Peter, who came with his wife, also asked about the solution to crime, but he said he had a more direct personal interest in spiritual life. Was it possible, he asked, to make spiritual advancement without living in the temple? Srila Prabhupada told him yes, if chanted Hare Krishna, which he could do anywhere, and he should read the standard books of Krishna consciousness movement. Mr. Potter also inquired about the Krishna conscious understanding of certain Christian theological points such as original sin and salvation. Srila Prabhupada, however, did not indulge in discussing theoretical or comparative religion but emphasized the necessity of strictly following the instructions given by God or his representative. The main business, Prabhupada said, is to understand God. Mr. Potter seemed unlikely to help the devotees get a large building, but he had inquired humbly about spiritual life. Prabhupada unstinting, Prabhupada's unstinting deliverance of Krishna consciousness was not conditional. If anyone sincerely inquired, be he assemblyman or criminal, Srila Prabhupada was always eager to give him the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Srila Prabhupada's Chicago visit included several important functions at the temple. Tamal Krishna Goswami and Vishnu Jana Swami had come to Chicago to see Srila Prabhupada and to recommend for initiation 75 new men who had joined their Radha Damodar traveling Sankirtan party. And at the end of the week, Prabhupada would be attending a Rath Yatra procession in downtown Chicago. Each morning, he lectured in large hall at the Evanston Temple before several hundred devotees, speaking about life of Ajamil. Each day he would tell more of the history of the sinner Ajamil who was saved at the time of death by calling out the name of God Narayan. On the fourth morning, Prabhupada was explaining how Ajamil had named one of his sons Narayan. So the idea is that by God's grace, in the beginning of his life, Ajamil engaged himself to be Krishna conscious and was initiated. Then years later, Krishna gave him the advice, all right, you keep this youngest son's name Narayan, because you will be naturally attached to this body and you will call him Narayan, Narayan, please come here, Narayan, take your food, Narayan, take your drink. So you will chant Narayan. Srila Prabhupada suddenly became stunned, unable to speak. Such a thing had happened before, but rarely. He remained in trance while a pregnant silence held the room. The devotees could see that Prabhupada was experiencing a powerful spiritual emotion. Many of them felt that when he had called out Narayan, he had come face to face with Narayan. He was seeing Krishna, who was showing how very pleased he was with his pure devotee. Surely Krishna was very pleased with Prabhupada, and although Prabhupada was fully engaged with the details of his movement within the material world, Krishna was with him, giving him assurance from the spiritual world. For the devotees, this movement confirmed the existence of the spiritual world and confirmed that Prabhupada belonged to the world and was only visiting the material world to give Krishna consciousness. Most of the devotees were neophytes, still attached to the material and having little vision of the spiritual, but now they could see the spiritual world through Srila Prabhupada's ecstatic trance. After a minute, Srila Prabhupada returned to the external consciousness. All right, he said, and then with the same words he used to end all his lectures, he said, thank you very much. Then devotees began a rousing melodic kirtan. It had been a special moment and they kept it in their hearts. Srila Prabhupada held a press conference at Sheraton, Chicago, and turnout by TV and the press was good. Sitting on the cushion on a platform surrounded by sannyasis, Prabhupada lectured to a group of media people who sat patiently. He introduced his topic as talking about the spiritual existence of the of the living being, and described the unavoidable miseries of the material world and how to transcend them by learning to love God and thus return to the eternal spiritual world. Those persons endeavoring to attain this spiritual goal are first class men, he said, and he described the four natural social divisions. On concluding, he called for questions. A reporter challenged that the four divisions of society were contrary to everything in American tradition, but Srila Prabhupada replied that only training was required. America was training doctors, engineers, lawyers, and American could train some first-class men. Woman reporter. Where do women fit into this social structure? You keep referring to a man. Prabhupada replied that a woman was a man's assistant, husband's assistant. If a woman was faithful to a first-class man, a Brahman, then she also becomes first class. If she was married to a second-class man, a Kshatriya, then she would be considered second class. If she was married to a third-class man, a Vaishya, then she was third class. According to the status of her husband, she became first, second, third, or fourth. Woman reporter, you mean she is not qualified as first, second, or third until she is married? Prabhupada, yes, a woman requires protection. In childhood, she should be protected by father, in youth by husband, and in old age by the elderly sons. The same reporter asked if Prabhupada thought Indira Gandhi was having political trouble because she was a woman and therefore incapable. Why are you trying to put me in emergency law? Prabhupada laughed. He then quoted Chanakya Pandit, never trust a woman or a politician. Prabhupada had created a sensation, and within a few hours, Chicago's radio and TV stations were talking of the news conference, concentrating almost entirely on his comments about women. A woman, um, alderman, scheduled to visit Prabhupada, phoned to say that she was cancelling because of Prabhupada's expressed attitude towards women. A TV station phoned and requested to come over that evening to do an interview. While the Chicago News reporters wrote their stories for the evening and morning editions, Prabhupada's comments were further picked up by United Press International and Associated Press wire services. Srila Prabhupada had wanted to reach the public with his Krishna conscious message, and therefore he had arrived in Chicago with specific idea of broadcasting his solution to crime. But now he had hit on a topic that was attracting far more attention. He had had the boldness to assert, in the midst of American predominant mood of women's liberation, women's real place in society. The devotees were excited by the controversy and were eager to understand the Krishna consciousness philosophy more deeply and to present it exactly. They complained that none of the reporters had delved deeply or allowed Prabhupada to express his idea of spiritual equality. Yet, when Prabhupada heard that evening that he had touched off so much media response, he was amused. He was ready to tell them more. Why only the woman should become pregnant, he said, reiterating his point before the small group of devotees in his room. The man goes away and she has to take care of the children and beg from the government. Is that independence? Devotee. Then the independence has become contraception. They say, I do not want to have child. Prabhupada, that means you commit another sinful activity. You will be punished. Devotee. Srila Prabhupada, the whole civilization, American Western civilization, is now bewildered by this theory of women's liberation. Prabhupada. But how they will be liberated? On this point, first of all, let me know. Anyway, I am not speaking of my experience. When we speak from the Shastras. Dependence is described in Manu Samhita, just like Queen Kunti. She is not an ordinary woman. She was learned and exalted. Brahmanand Swami. This is one point. In our devotional line, there are spiritual leaders who have been women, such as Kunti. Prabhupada. Therefore, I say that Kunti remained dependent on her sons. That is my proposition. Her sons were banished, but when they went to the forest, she followed because she thought, I am a widow, I am a dependent on my sons. So wherever they remain, I shall remain. Similarly, Sita, the wife of Lord Ramchandra was requested by his father to go to the forest, not Sita, but she preferred to go with her husband. When her husband said, you are not banished, you stay at home, she said, no, I am dependent on you. Wherever you shall go, I must go. This is Vedic culture. devotee. Her chastity was her great virtue, but nowadays there is no longer truth. Prabhupada, sorry, that is no longer true. Prabhupada. Nowadays may be different, but I'm speaking the Vedic idea. That's all. In all circumstances, unless her husband is crazy or sometimes like that, mad in every case, the wife is faithful and subservient to the husband. Even the husband goes out of home, Vanaprastha, the wife also goes with him. When he takes sannyas, at that time there is no accompanying of wife. Otherwise, in Grihastha life and even Vanaprastha life, the wife is constant companion and subservient. Gandhari, her husband, was blind. So, when the marriage settlement was done, she was not blind, but she voluntarily became blind by wrapping cloth over her eyes. There are instances in Vedic literature. The wife remains always faithful and subservient to the husband. That is her perfection. The Americans may not like this idea, but that is a different thing. A five-person TV crew arrived at Prabhupada's apartment, four women and a male assistant. Obviously, they were making a point. While the crew set up their lights and equipment, Prabhupada sat serenely behind his low desk, a few of his disciples sitting before him on the floor. The interviewer first asked Prabhupada about his solution to America's problems, comparing society to the human body. Prabhupada replied that while all parts of the body were important, the head was the most important. Without a proper functioning head, the person or society was mad. There was need, therefore, for training first class men. Where do women fit into these four classes? The newswoman asked. Srila Prabhupada duly repeated that woman, being subordinate to man, had her position according to the position of her husband. And so it went. The questions were challenges. Do you think I am inferior to you? The interviewer was out to make Prabhupada appear prejudiced, but he spoke only pure philosophy. Spiritually, they are all one, Prabhupada said. Yet, he emphasized the distinction materially between man and woman. For example, he said, woman can bear children, but the man cannot. Is it possible for man to become pregnant? Interviewer. What happens when women are not subordinate to men? Prabhupada. Then there is disruption, social disruption. Therefore, in the Western countries, there are so many diverse cases because the woman does not agree to become subordinate to man. Interviewer. What advice do you have to women who do not want to become subordinate to men? Prabhupada. It is not my advice, but it is advice of Vedic knowledge that women should be chaste and faithful to man. Srila Prabhupada returned to the point that women bear children but men cannot. By nature's way, he said, as soon as you get children, you require support from the husband, otherwise you are in difficulty. Interviewer. Many women have children and have no support from their husbands. They have no husband. Prabhupada. Then they have to take support from others. You cannot deny that. The government is giving you support, but the government is embarrassed. If the husband supports the wife and children, the government is relieved of so much welfare contribution. So that is a problem. Man and woman unite. The woman becomes pregnant and the husband goes away. Then the poor woman is embarrassed with child. She has to beg from the government. So do you think it is very nice thing? The Vedic idea is that woman should be married to a man and the man should take charge of the woman and the children so that they do not become a burden to the government or to the public. Interviewer. What about women who do not have children? Well, that is another unnatural thing. Sometimes they use contraceptives. They kill children. Abortion. That is also not very good. These are all sinful activities. One has to suffer for them. It was a heated interview. The feminist interviewer set on disparaging Prabhupada for his outrageous remarks. Yet he remained strong and uncompromising, urging in such a way as to point out many anomalies of materialistic civilization. Prabhupada didn't discriminate against women as a class and in fact gave women in his Krishna consciousness movement the same opportunity as men. Although the reporter misunderstood him, labeling him as a male chauvinist actually he was compassionate. According to Vedic view, women should be protected from exploitative men. Prabhupada was aware that his words were not being appreciated, but he continued, hopeful that the truth would prevail and that intelligent people would understand. The important point was liberation, not temporary social or sexist stances. After the TV crew left, Prabhupada continued the discussion. He said that their becoming angry showed their defeat. They were unwilling to accept logic. Prabhupada, this woman's liberation is not successful. It has caused disaster. When the woman became dependent on the welfare gift of the government, then the government has to raise taxes heavily for this purpose. If they think it is not a problem, then what can be said? By nature's way, if the husband takes care of the wife and children, this problem is solved immediately. But the man takes advantage and goes away from making the woman pregnant. Goes away after making the woman pregnant, and the woman is embarrassed, and the government is embarrassed. Devotee. And the child grows up to be a criminal. Prabhupada, yes, that is another problem. So they are not far seeing. Therefore, we have to take advice from Krishna. We are spreading this knowledge that you take our counsel from Krishna, then you will be happy. That's Swarupa. Srila Prabhupada, if we speak these things on television and newspapers and people become angry, if all the people become angry like she just did, is it still good propaganda for us? Prabhupada, no. Then we chant Hare Krishna. But in the Bhagavad Gita, especially, everything is discussed. Varna Sankara and the first class man and second class man. If you have to push our Krishna consciousness movement, then we have to discuss. But if they do not like, better to chant Hare Krishna. Don't discuss anything. If you are not agreeable to hear from Bhagavad Gita, then let us chant together Hare Krishna. That's all. But these things are discussed in Bhagavad Gita. There it is said that when there is unwanted population and it is increased, then it becomes hell. So if you want to increase the hellish persons, then don't discuss. But if you think it is a problem, then discuss. That's Swarupa. As Brahmanas, we have to be truthful. In Hong Kong, they asked you what you thought of that guru who says he is God. You said you could not help yourself and you spoke out. Prabhupada, yes, I said he is a great cheat. What can I say? And now it has been proven. As I said in my book, Easy Journey to Other Planets, this moon excursion is childish, and that has also been proven now. Now, they don't talk about the moon excursion because they are failure. The next morning, Srila Prabhupada rode to Loyola Park for his morning walk. On the way, one of the devotees read aloud the news articles from the morning's edition of Chicago Tribune. Forgive me if this story is not well written. The article began. I am a woman. The article continued. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, the 77-year-old founder of this International Society of Krishna Consciousness, said so Wednesday. The society is dedicated to peace in the world through love of God and relinquishment of all things material. The Swami spoke seated cross-legged on an expensive-looking cushion, surrounded by fresh flowers, microphone, and burning incense in the conference room he rented at Sheraton Chicago hotel. He is in town for a Krishna parade at 1:30 p.m. Saturday down State Street, in which he will ride on a flower-bedecked float. Then he will fly to Philadelphia for more celebration and philosophical chats. He looked occasionally at his gold watch as he explained his life philosophy. His adoring disciples, 5 men, knelt at his side. The article continued, implying that Srila Prabhupada was a male chauvinist. He said, women do not figure in his class system except as daughters or wives. An unmarried woman is presumably classless. Srila Prabhupada chuckled in the back seat of the car and remarked, that is a fact. She is a prostitute. That's all. If you classify, then she is prostitute. There is no other way. The devotee continued reading. The Swami now lives in Los Angeles and he trains his followers there. Their income is from sales of books, magazines, and incense. He says he has about 10,000 followers. We do not have so many, he said. It is hard to find a first class man. It is a pity. Half the population are women. So it is not bad, said Prabhupada. And he offered his own positive proposal for men in Krishna consciousness. Our policy should be that at Dallas Gurukul we shall create first class men and we shall teach the girls two things: how to become chaste and faithful to their husband and how to cook nicely. If they have these two qualifications, then I will take a guarantee to give them, so to get them a good husband. So try to do that. At the park, Prabhupada was joined by several carloads of devotees, followed closely by a dozen eager disciples. He proceeded down a path that ran along many tall shade trees along the shore of Lake Michigan. Since the walkway was wide enough for only a few devotees to walk abreast, most of the devotees fanned out onto the grass, trying to keep within hearing distance of Srila Prabhupada. Okay, let me bring it. We'll stop here. Where are we? Yeah, ordinary education is sufficient. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Satsvarupa Goswami Maharaj ki Hare Krishna. Now your turns starts. I think there are so many Matajis here. Anyone would like to share something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So this was very nice. I think this the discussion with the reporter lady, I think it's also in a video, no? I think that Prabhupada was discussing,
Might be
and it's
there.
also video.
Okay. Yeah, please share it.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah, it's very nice that Prabhupada, I mean, no matter he did not compromise his philosophy, his principles. So usually people a little bit they uh, change their philosophy depending on the situation.
He was
But
changing the people. He was
yeah.
preaching to the disciples. Yeah, he was also establishing what is solutions, everything at same time.
Hmm.
So for him, it was not like something he's um, doing something only for that. Yeah? So because a devotee is always engaged in service of the Lord, so he was always as part of this interview and all. Right? What is he doing? He's not talking anything about the material world, right? So he's talking about what? Spiritual solution, which is Krishna's message, Bhagavad Gita in a more our level of understanding. So yeah, this is one
Yes,
thing
Prabhuji.
which we can see, that we can also understand that when we want to engage ourselves in service in Krishna consciousness, yeah, it means that we should be very firm. We should be very, very firm. Maybe we may not be so bold like Prabhupada to tell, but at least we should be firm that we don't change, we don't compromise our own stance. Uh, uh, because there are two things. One is that when it comes to our own self sadhana, we should be very strong. We follow the rules very, very, very stringently. Maybe we can be a little compassionate depending on people. Yeah? As Prabhupada was mentioning, if they can't understand, do what? Chant Hare Krishna. Because
Yes,
chanting
Prabhuji.
will make them coming to that understanding. That is the trick. Yes. Anyone?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
It was a pretty, yeah, quite broad topics. Like I liked in the beginning at the Denver temple that discussion, yeah, about the devotees, are they parasites, and how Prabhupada explains that yeah, all belongs to Krishna, and yeah, devotees are sons of Lord. Also, yeah, that idea of to reduce the criminality in the world, that also I like that how the solution that he said was very practical, that the laws criminal also knows the laws but still they break. So yeah, the purity, yeah, cleansing of the heart is more important. That was yeah, very practical to hear. Yeah, that the last topic was quite a heated topic about the woman freedom, and however Srila Prabhupada yeah did not tell any slippery words. He was quite clear about woman.
And we can also see in the Denver temple when you told that Prabhupada was saying, yeah, to ask facilities. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Prabhupada was very clear that hey, um, he was more looking on the positive side. We are looking on a negative side that one of the devotees were asking, right? So Prabhupada, even our temple itself is not full. What will we do with the big hall, with big building? Prabhupada said, yeah, it's not only building. Building is a facility, but it will also give right more options, which makes our life easier. Which means when we have more facilities, though we are less people, we can do more efficiently. Yeah, and that's what Prabhupada was telling, that facilities are very very important. We can make, yeah. So the limitations are only facilities. When we have facilities, even one or few devotees can make big things. We can see in lives of so many Maharajas, Swamis, Prabhupada disciples that they did. They all expanded their kingdom, yeah. So in a way, so that they can do worldwide projects with the facilities by reaching out to mayors. Even if mayor would give little, then they would show what is the benefit of what they have given. Yeah. This reminds me of His Holiness Indrabdana Maharaj when he does this Woodstock festival and Baltic Sea festival, which is like 40 days, and then how the mayors are showering appreciation for this wonderful projects, because the whole area is becoming more sattvic. Yeah, because the people are changing and taking to good habits. So which means they work. When they work, they get earnings. When they get earnings, they pay taxes. So it's all about a transformation. Yeah, where, as Prabhupada was mentioning, right, it's cleaning. Yeah, it's a different cleaning process. And yeah, it's not like a okay, Prabhupada did it, and all so many levels of projects that are going on. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Yeah, yeah, they are discussing these big projects with leaders to bring them into uh, real welfare projects.
Prabhuji, yeah. And Prabhuji, was not able to understand these devotees were fasting, or they were not eating grains than what they were
Yeah,
eating.
they're following diets. Yeah, maybe for dieting. Sometimes we would think like, okay, let me protect my body first. Yeah. And in that business, sometimes maybe they're not eating food because now you have all facilities, all ingredients in a kitchen if you go to ISKCON temple, right? But in those days, yeah, very few, mainly grains were the things which are used for making khichdi or chapati, dal. So a diet plans could come up. Yeah, how to maintain a good health. So there was also like that's the reason people make at home, right? So if I want to make a nice dry fruit something to make it for all devotees in temple may not be practical. They may be doing at home whatever they are doing, not eating together. All this. I mean, I'm just reading between the lines there.
So probably the scarcity or that reason might be that
Yeah.
we are not eating together in the temple.
See, when everyone is eating one, that's easy, right? But when everyone has their own diets, so it's not possible. And Prabhupada's message is very clear. First priority is prasadam. Whatever may happen, we should eat prasad. Even if one is becoming fat, that reminds me of Jayapatak Maharaj. Or if one, yeah, yeah, Prabhupada said, prasadam, we should eat. Yeah, we are distributing prasadam. We should also take prasadam. That saves us. That will save us.
So
And
that sentence was also very nice. That prasadam is same as good as Krishna.
yes, and prasadam seva. This is what Prabhupada says. Even taking prasadam, that's why we say honoring prasadam. Or taking prasadam is actually serving Krishna. The best service, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So Prabhuji, for you, no more dieting from this month?
Now my diet, I have a rich diet. Yeah, make sure that it's Krishna offered. So maybe Krishna also wants it.
Yeah, okay.
Mm. Yeah, because Krishna is also saying, don't eat too much, don't eat too less. No?
Yes, Prabhuji, yes.
It is also relative, much and less.
Yeah, as long as you can maintain your body values, whatever is required, no? It means you're maintaining, balancing it. If you're messing up with those things, then yeah, we know we are eating more or less.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay. Madhuri Mataji, what do you say?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji and Hare Krishna to all. As
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji giving this lecture, a lot of things catch my ears. The main thing, crime. If there is a crime, we cannot live in this world. It's very difficult. The crime is a very basicity, I feel, of the human life. We will not able to do anything, even sleep peacefully, if there's a crime. And the solution what Prabhupada gave is very true, connecting to the Krishna consciousness. Especially in this today's world where there is a war nearby you, like a near country. Everywhere there is some or something. And you read a lot of things about the prasadam too. I do get the importance of prasadam. Before this, I wasn't taking that much seriously. I mean, of course, I would eat prasadam and all, prepare at home, but not like on the daily basis. I would do only like mornings, and then that was the routine. But now I know that the bhog prasadam is very important, and never to forget Krishna. So I'm taking this very much into consideration. And another thing where he was talking about the women's and how the women felt bad when he put a statement, something about the liberation, I think, the women's and the liberation. And then how the reporters asked him about this. Also that like how he mentioned that the woman should never live alone. When she's young, she should live under her father and then her husband and then the son when she's old. And then how he gave the example, like the Kunti, she preferred to stay with her sons, and even Sita Devi, she followed Śrīram. That was very beautifully given, like an example. For us, it's very understandable because we have been brought up in this culture. But for the Western world, in today's world, I don't know how they will see, but I feel that we as a devotee or all other devotees, if we can also set up an example, like how we live in this world, maintaining our culture from where we have been brought up.
Yeah.
This will also help in the world, I feel.
Yeah.
And another thing, probably I want to ask your thoughts on this. Like you see today's world, the man is also working and the women are also somehow they also make their mind that they will work after, after married life and all. I mean, once they get married, is it like okay in this generation, I mean this in the today's world, and leave their kids to under somebody, they give to look after nannies and all. I somehow don't know this, like is it okay or like we should change here to our understanding.
So your question is about what happens to the kids who are not taken care by parents.
Yeah, I mean, like we are not going that path, but I have seen a lot of my friends, even in my relatives, the man and woman both are working, both have a really great jobs, and they are not ashamed of this. They are very proud of themselves. They hardly have time for their kids. They will leave their kids to somebody else, some nannies, like somebody, a stranger, in other words. So how good is this? Or I mean, I'm talking about these practices.
So we should understand that are we giving, first of all, good to our children? So if ultimately the purpose of working is for what? So that we can do the best to our family.
Kids. Yeah,
So
family and
if a wife
children.
is working or a husband is working or both are working, it all is to do what? To maintain a proper family. And the challenge is when we talk about a family which is more about enjoying more comforts, like, okay, I need a house right now in Bombay. A house is very expensive. Let's work together so that we can have nice protection, nice comfort, minimum social status, social protection, and all these things. It is fine, but there is something like um, there is something, do you know, like a back step and a front step, right? So when we are walking, we are not just putting both the feet at same time. We see that some one feet is in the front and one feet in the back, and then one can actually one can actually progress, right?
Yes.
But today, in today's world, what is happening is both the feet are in the sky, right, or in the air, because both are working, and then the offsprings are at risk because who is nanny going to give the same love like a parent?
No.
Just imagine if 1 month you don't pay them, we know what care they will give.
Yeah.
So, which is more business driven, money driven. So, where there is money driven, how can we expect a proper service? And moreover, why should we hand over our responsibility to someone just because we can earn little more? Huh? So, and it is said that a child, especially what he learns in first 5 years, is what he becomes for the entire life. Because we are not understanding this principle, we what we do is we are being very careless. We are thinking the kid needs things. So what he needs is nice toys. So if I just buy toys, then the kid is happy. If I bring, what is it, uh, nice, uh, what do you call this? As you said, na, if it is a Kita or some kind of facility where you can live
Yeah.
there,
Yes.
all nice because there is all nice music, and then you can also have the sometimes the problem is also at the stress, right? First, it can start at quite, it can be on a very worst case, it can start with, okay, one didn't even think of having kid, right? by but by accident it happened. Hmm?
Yes.
So, and then some generous parents, okay, okay, let's not do abortion, let's have kids because after all, our parents have asked and your parents have asked. So finally, we can bring up the child. So the attachment to the child is not so much, because still one is attached to their own comfort. uh, Whether it is the pregnant lady is interested on in her own comfort, because she's saying, hey, I'm not going out at all because of this, I am going through all troubles, and you are going and enjoying in your own ways. I am very much uh, what do you call this word, I am very much um uh, depressed. Not depressed is the word, but actually there is another word. Yeah, feeling very much uh, that, as if like uh, under, yeah, you become like underprivileged, yeah, because as if like, okay, so then then what happens is that, okay, as the kid is coming out, then the kid is there, then after initial months, the parents want to get back to their life. The husband is very happy because he will have to support, yeah, so he is free. And then what about the kid? So then that goes into turns like, okay, let's share our something, so that we can have facilities like after all, these kitas are not bad, right? So there's nice music, they have kids, all kids come together, they learn a lot. No, that's not what happens. So what can happen is that it's not just learning all the alphabets in the before they get into the school. It's not that. It's more important that the kid, is he able to build a relationship. Huh? So if that is happening, that is okay. But if that's not happening, what is the purpose? There is no problem to go to Kitas. Yeah, kids can go to Kitas, but how much time? If the kid is learning something out, it's nice. But what about learning at home? How much time? Hmm?
Yes, very true.
And then, if I mean, this is a big topic in itself. Yeah, the parents are earning and spending to to someone else, right? After all, both the parents are earning for what? To give a good lively, and also sometimes stress free and all these things, but money is also spent. It's not like kita is just giving a free service. There is no government kitas that are giving for free of cost. Right, so there
Yes,
is so many things. Yeah, you pay the tax or you pay the fee or whatever, and the facilities are, it's not about love, it's maybe giving some learnings, training, that he may know, okay, some experiences. Then we think, hey, he's enjoying it. Huh? We know how, what are the challenges, right? If the kids,
yeah,
then they also get influenced from the other kids. So this is a very dangerous world where we are living, and we are leaving the kid at so early in young age in the world, in a wild world. Huh? And we are just thinking, oh, it's so nice, because everybody is seeing his own benefit, right? The husband is seeing his, or the father is seeing his benefit, the mother is seeing her benefit, huh? And the society is seeing its benefit.
very true. Like, I get easily connected here, whatever we talk. But I got married in 2021,
Mhm.
and my son was born last year in June. So before that, I was working. When I got married, I left the job. I mean, I left my career because one person had to move, like, come to Germany. So I came here. So from that time to even till now, my friends and even some of the family members, they always ask, like, are you going back to work or no?
Yeah,
I mean, they feel sad that I left the job and my career. And they also think that okay, one day when my son will grow up, he will question me that why, mother, you are staying at home and why only one person work.
don't
And
worry.
I,
Yeah, don't worry, because it's important that we do right thing at right time, right?
yeah, and it's not like my husband forced me for anything. We have come up with our mutual decision. There was nothing forceful in anything. So, so some of them also think that maybe my husband asked me to stay at home, but it's not at all true. It is my own thinking because we did plan for the baby, but we also think that yeah, one must stay at home because he's so small and I don't know how to trust this world. I mean, of course, nannies won't be that bad, but what we can give him, I don't think so the world can give him, because
Yeah.
at the, they will just work for the paycheck.
And important is, yeah, they can do a wonderful job if you give a very good check. But what are we doing? Is it, are we not capable of taking care of our children? That's why we want to go out. Hmm? Are we tired? No. So where we can genuinely give our love to the kids at that time the kids are not there, what is the purpose?
I also came across, there were like some people said that if you stay with your son home, like once he's little bit older, like 3-4 years old, and if you don't go to work, he might be very addictive to you. That means he's going to stay with me and just do whatever I'm telling him. Like they think that okay, he won't be independent. He will always be under my shadow or something like that. But I feel I also disagree.
When the kids read Bhagavatam, when the kids read Ramayana, right? They are
Yeah.
they are very, very self competent to lead a more successful life than anyone can do. So
Yeah.
we don't have to worry so much what will happen to kids. We need the attachment, the kids need that attachment, that's definitely there, but the maturity also. Yeah, it's not the weakness, that's what we are giving. It's not weakness, oh, kid is always behind the parent. The kid is not getting this weakness, but kid is getting the love and affection that he is genuinely reciprocating. Yeah, which means when mother has an issue, then the kid is concerned, huh? Which we don't see in today's world. Hmm?
Exactly.
So let the concern also be there at the same time. Also build strong character. Our foundation. When we are talking to Bhagavatam through Mahabharata, that is what we do,
Yes.
so that the kid is not worried. Uh, when kid is worried, then he will do double game, right? When the kid is
Exactly.
worried, then he is cheating. He will cheat you. He will cheat society, uh, because he
Exactly.
wants happiness by cheating. Cheating is not, if he doesn't get happiness without cheating, then he will cheat. So this is what is happening in the kitas, in the schools, everywhere. What is happening is to learn this art of cheating, how to survive. Hmm? So this is
Yes.
not what we want. So yeah, as I said, a right thing to be done at right time is always important. Not just if someone is telling, then yeah.
Yes, Sudhamaji, very right.
But as I said, this topic is very, very broad, and
Yeah.
every step is important. And yeah, and when situations come where this kind of confrontations, when because of comparative situations, it is always important to turn towards Vedic understanding, because this has been the basis. It's not like time has changed, so Vedas are out of date or outdated. Yeah, we can still find ways of how we can be happy and do
Yes.
that. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Stop here and see us tomorrow. Vanchakalparabhyascha kripasindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare Krishna.